Hi guys, welcome back to the Social Tune, and today we're taking a look at my all-time favorite album, the aptly titled Masterpiece Theater by Marianas Trench. You guys have no idea how much I've been looking forward to this. When many people usually talk about their favorite album, they're usually grand rock operas or intricately woven hip-hop masterpieces or metal epics. It's actually fairly rare for a critic's favorite album to be a pop album. But yeah, for me, nothing has ever topped and probably will never top this album. There are more complicated or intricately woven projects that I've reviewed, or hell, even a few that could be considered better on a musical or emotional level, but no other album has ever been able to hit me quite down to my core or been able to work as well for me on every level as this one. And even though Marianas Trench has made some fantastic projects, I doubt that I would even be able to consider them my favorite band without this release. Now let me stress, this is not a video of me trying to convince you that this is the best thing ever made. Many of you will probably listen to the album and have no idea what I'm going on about. This is just a video of me gushing about my favorite body of music, and that's what you should watch it as. And with that, let's dive into our first title track.
Masterpiece will fall apart. It was over before the start.
So what this album is, basically, is an exploration of how artists are treated by record labels and even their own audiences, whether they like to admit it or not. And the opener sets the stage perfectly, with lyrics about how artists and celebrities in general are expected to put on a brave face and take anything that comes their way. Basically playing the part every single day of their lives. And right from the get-go, this album hits you with how cinematic it's going to feel. With a swell of strings that leads into a chorus of absolutely gorgeous multi-tracked vocals. From there it switches to Josh Ramsey and some light guitars that suddenly bursts out into some fantastic riffing and drum work. And after alternating between those two for a while, we get a beautiful bridge that leads us into a gorgeous instrumental piece with guitars, drums, 808s, and faint strings that carry us through to the end of the song. What a way to open up this album, but really, I wouldn't expect anything less. This is a prime example of how to take a subject that has been done billions of times before and make it all your own. It's a song about a guy who wants the girl all to himself, which should come across as unpleasant or possessive, but instead it's just incessantly charming, partly because our protagonist is fully aware that he shouldn't be feeling this way and doesn't want to. The song is self-aware in a way that many of these often forget to be. But the bigger reason is just how incredibly catchy it is. The hook is so sticky, the guitars are incredible, with even a brief solo thrown in there, and the entire song is played so upbeat and energetically that it can't help but put a smile on my face every time. And while we're on the subject of damn incredible and not overly complicated pop songs, so in this case, we have a song about him promising this girl that he'll love her forever, cross his heart and hope to die. And once again, it's just a damn amazing pop song. The hook is incredible, the writing is fantastic in its simplicity while still defiantly being its own thing. The guitars, if anything, make for an even catchier melody this time round, and the harmonies on this song are flat out gorgeous. Absolutely wonderful, an easy fan favorite for many, including myself. Okay, so if you haven't picked up on this yet, the entire album is filled with fun, upbeat, catchy hooks that may seem a little lightweight the first time around, but the compositions are so detailed, intricate, cinematic, and just downright masterfully crafted that the album really does stick with you. And with that in mind, this is easily one of the best songs that the band has ever made. The instrumentation is lush and sweeping, with gorgeous, soft guitars on the verses, subtle strings, and a combination of an echoing drum and a gorgeous set of harmonized vocals on the chorus. And lyrically, the song is about offering support to another, not for selfish reasons, but because sometimes life just gets hard and it's the most we can offer. More specifically, this is about helping a loved one who is recovering after going through an addiction, which can be incredibly painful. And the song's message about unconditional love and support, all delivered by a frontman who sings it like he's lived it, makes this an absolute gem and a real favorite of mine. Wonderful song. So I'd actually briefly discussed this song before when talking about Ed Sheeran's Castle on the Hill. And in that video, I admitted that I'm actually a big sucker for songs about reminiscing about childhood and the way things used to be, especially when the songs are this well written. It's the same reason that I adore Kesha's Wonderland, and while I would give that song the edge over Ed Sheeran's Castle on the Hill, the best example that I've heard to date is still Acadia. And it's the details in this song that really do get to me. Like the fact that the memory is triggered by hearing a song that he associates with that place, something we can all relate to. Or the details that he includes about his friends as kids and then as adults, as they've somehow become men. It's an incredible song that deals with so many confusing emotions. There's definitely nostalgia and happy memories there, harkening back to a simpler, happier time. And yet in the very brief bridge before the final chorus, we see that that place that they used to call their own has been torn down, leaving them with only their memories. But the song still manages to stay upbeat because in the end, while we all miss the past, it is important to know when to grow up and move on.
This masterpiece I made, I'll burn out and slip away. And this is just a part I betray.
This is a companion piece to the first title track, and it is so different. It feels a lot less triumphant, but it does have a really nice build to it, with absolutely gorgeous backing strings that carry the majority of the tune. The track is also mostly centered around Josh, as the rest of the band provide backing vocals in Marianas Trench's trademark style, and boy does it sound gorgeous. And lyrically, it kind of follows the title track with more of an emphasis on getting away from your inner demons, the ones that plague every artist, fitting the dramatic style of the instrumentation even more. Absolutely gorgeous, easily the most tragic out of the three. Well done, gentlemen. That slow, dramatic song, we dive into a much faster guitar and drum-based riff that sounds oh so fun, until you look at the lyrics. Like the title track, this song deals with how artists are treated by their record labels as well as their audiences. And the real draw of this song is the drums that have a wonderful swing feel to them that really pulls you in and helps you lose yourself in the music. Meanwhile, the lyrics are a cry for help, begging to be listened to. As Josh details that people don't want him to do anything except put on a smile and sing, damn it. No time for eating, no time for sleeping, you just have to sing better, you pawn of ours. But you know, we also love you and care about you because we relate to your music. It's a tightrope that artists are always walking with the public and often don't have the balls to admit. Not that the artists themselves are entirely blameless, but trust me, they'll get to that in a bit. In the meantime, this song is amazing, fun, misleading, and deep, all at the same time.
To me, and I'd be so good to you.
you want an example of just how awesome this band is as a group of people, not just as musicians? Well, they actually held a contest to have a fan come on stage with them at a concert and sing a duet with Josh Ramsay. The winner, of course, was Miss Jessica Lee, and they actually liked her so much that they had her flown out so she could film the music video with them. That would be a dream come true for any fan, and she is clearly in seventh heaven in the video. But that's not to disparage the album version featuring Kate Vogel, who also sounds amazing. And if you know me, you know I love a good duet between a male and female artist, so this works for me right out the gate. And yeah, this is just a phenomenal song about two people who are hesitant to be together, but even though their feelings are complicated and neither of them is perfect, they promise to be good to each other forever. Paired with the beautiful pianos and the elegant strings, and you have one hell of a duet that definitely deserves multiple renditions. So while the band does make a good point about the tenuous relationship between labels, audiences, and musicians, and rightfully calls out the public for their willful ignorance, they're also self-aware and smart enough to point out that the bands themselves aren't entirely blameless. This is a song taking shots at celebrity culture, people who would bend over backwards, both literally and figuratively, for different opportunities. Those who are obsessed with looking young and doing everything they can to conform so the public doesn't turn on them. People who think they're more valuable and important because of their wealth and will turn in even their own friends just for a taste of fame. And with it comes that incredibly energetic and unforgiving chorus with a wonderful bridge that leads into a burst of frustrated energy in the form of that massive guitar solo. After all, conforming to what everyone else wants is pretty unhealthy, which is encapsulated fairly well in our next song.
Secrets out, and I swear now everything is perfect. What you want, what you need has been killing me. Try to be everything that you want me to be.
This is a song about how celebrities will do everything they can to appear perfect in the eyes of the people, going on about how perfect their lives are when in fact they're miserable, with the pivotal line coming on the bridge where Josh cries out, "It's better this way." After all, if things aren't perfect, he may be forced to confront reality, and God forbid that. To quote Josh Ramsay directly, some artists or bands will try to be perfect for money and popularity. But we hope and will try not to change just because critics say something is wrong with our image or music. Amen to that, gentlemen. Don't you change a damn thing. Unless you want to, of course, and damn it, I'm part of the problem, aren't I?
Of you yet, is that as good as it gets? I'll just say it, or I could slip into you. It's so easy to come back into you.
You know, despite this song's gorgeous sound, basically a beautifully simple piano ballad and Josh's voice that builds and builds until the full backing band comes in to support him, I've heard from some people that it doesn't really fit into the arc of this album, because this is a song that he actually wrote in rehab directed at heroin. And the brilliant thing about the song is that it could just as easily be about two lovers who are questioning their relationship. It's a heartbreakingly honest song, and Josh's vocal performance is amazing as always, as he really does manage to sell the drama of this topic. And as for fitting into the arc of this album, how many celebrities turn to drugs in order to find solace? Searching for love and sustenance that's unconditional and not dependent on their own fame and success. In other words, I think it fits perfectly, and it sets the stage beautifully for our final and greatest track,
if I have to. Tell me what good would that do? I'll wreck this if I have to.
You know, the The 3 title tracks were actually all written and recorded before the track list was put together. And originally, Marianas Trench had no idea which one they wanted on the album, so they eventually put all 3 of them. And while the 3 songs are all phenomenal and serve as a great framing device to space out this album, when it comes to which one is best, there's not even a doubt in my mind. Masterpiece Theatre 3 is not just an amazing song, it's one of the best songs of all time. An orchestral, intricately put together piece of work that has a grandeur to it that is jaw-dropping. And while, just like the other 2, it contains the same lyrics about the struggling artists seen through its own musical lens, it also contains snippets from all the songs on this album. Almost as if we're seeing an incredibly grand epilogue, a summary of the piece of work we just listened to that feels like one of the best pieces of music ever written. I just can't get enough of this song. It closes the album on an incredibly high note, and goes through as many changes along its runtime as Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. Oh yes, I went there. It starts out quiet and slow, then builds up with its string section, which then transitions into a gorgeous combination along with the drums, before the guitars come in and thunder along to our frontman's howling vocals. And we're still not done. Next come the doo-wop stylings of the band with the fantastic backing vocals, followed by a fade out where the instrumentation suddenly starts to build one last time, adding in element after element until you feel like you're listening to the greatest curtain call of all time. And considering the album title and cover, you could very much argue that that's the point. And so, in the spirit of theatre, it builds to an absolutely epic climax before it just cuts out and fades to silence in one fell swoop. Absolutely breathtaking closer, one of the best to any album I've ever heard. So that was Marianas Trench's Masterpiece Theatre, and some of you may be wondering why I call it my favourite album of all time. Well, to name a few reasons, the replay value is endless, its lyrics try way harder than they need to and do so masterfully, the hooks are all catchy as hell, the instrumentation and composition are utterly flawless, and of course, Josh Ramsey is clearly giving it his all and is one of the most engaging frontmen you'll ever hear. But personally, for me, I think it's the theatricality that works best. I've been involved in theatre from a very young age, and for me, listening to this album is the only thing comparable to actually being on stage, acting. It's exhilarating, it's emotional, and nothing else quite compares to it. It's a wonderful, perfectly executed piece of music that no one has ever been able to top for me, not even the band themselves. Oh, they came close, but that's a review for another video. Until then, this should come as no surprise, it's the strongest 10 out of 10 that I can muster. Or heck, since I'm probably never going to do this again, here, give it an 11 or maybe a 12, I don't care. Because honestly, I'm pretty confident that nothing will ever top this. And yes, everyone watching this video, you can definitely take that as a challenge, because if you think you can top this, I'm definitely intrigued. But in the meantime, thank you all for watching, leave a like if you enjoyed. If you haven't checked this album out, do so. Right now. If you have heard it though, then please let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. Also, if you have a favorite album of all time, please share that in the comments below, as well as why you love it. And yes, for those of you wondering, Big Crit, Kelly Clarkson, Pink, and many more are on the way. But until the next time, I'm Finn, and this is The Social Tune, signing off.